chair?
Yeah, I guess maybe. We can sit up here?
No, down there.
Okay.
I'll bring you a chair. You sure?
Good morning and welcome to this virtual gathering of the Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. In the spirit of hospitality, I want to welcome you to this virtual space called Zoom. We welcome all of you to our service, especially those of you who are searching for spirituality in these uncertain times. Whether it's your first time in worship with us or your 100th time, we hope that you'll find here questions that stretch you, people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving boldly, living justly, and welcoming radically. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special virtual welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time and those of you who still feel like visitors. More information on our fellowship can be found on our website at auuf.org. We especially want to welcome our guest speaker today. Alex Kapitan is a lay community minister, educator, editor, consultant, and activist, and also a trans and queer lifelong Unitarian Universalist. Alex is the co-founder of the Transforming Hearts Collective, which supports congregations in practicing radical welcome, and also the founder of Radical Copy Editor, an anti-oppressive language project. Let us move into the service, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to connection in all of its forms.
Good morning. Our invocation this morning is words by Ian Riddell. Come one, come all. Come with your missing pieces and your extra screws. Come with your hard edges and your soft spots. Come with your bowed heads and upright spines. Come all you flamboyant and drab, verbose and quiet, fidgeting and lethargic, all you with large vision and tender heart, all you with small courage and tender fears. Bring your lisp and your stutter and your song. Bring your gravel and your drawl and your lilt. Bring your anger and your joy and your righteous indignation. Misfits and conformists and everyone in between, come into this space and be welcome. Bring who you are. Bring where you've traveled. Bring what you long for, and let us worship together.
I haven't the slightest idea. There's a bride, there's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the trouble and the strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way, if we keep on the sunny side of life. And grieve with a song of hope each day. Though the moment be cloudy or fair, and trust in our Savior always, who keeps us everyone in your care. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way when we keep on the sunny side of life. Gonna keep on the sunny side of life.
Our cellist lighting this morning comes from Eric Walker Wickstrom. We light this chalice for all who are here and all who are not, for all who have ever walked through our doors, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for those we can't even yet imagine. For each of us and for all of us, may this flame burn warm and bright. And as is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families separated at our southern border. I would like to invite us, wherever you are, as you are willing and able, for our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. The words will be shared on screen, and if you have a gray hymnal, it's number 188 in your hymnal.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, come. Whoever you are, ours is no caravan, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Come, yet again, come.
Thank you so much to my choir who's here this morning and helping us to lead us into this space for this morning. One of the ways we proclaim the warmth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. And although we can't be present with one another this morning, we can still share our joys and concerns. We invite those who wish to do so to use the Zoom chat box to type your joy, concern, or milestone during the music for meditation.
another one for Sylvia.
Okay.
Thank you to all who have shared your joys, concerns, and milestones today. And may all the joys, concerns, and milestones of this community, both those spoken aloud and those held in silence, be received into the care and concern of all present. Our religious community is like a river formed from the many streams of our lives that meet and merge to flow to the sea. As members and friends of this religious community, we share our time and energy, our creativity, imagination, and vision, our talents, skills, and gifts, and the streams of our individual lives to create a river that is both deep and broad, a river that is made of many streams, sustains life, and refreshes the land through which it flows. But the river of this community also depends on our shared financial support that makes real our shared vision and values. We invite you to make an offering for our community this morning using the PayPal link on screen and in the chat box. If your offering is to fulfill your pledge, please let us know in the notes. The offering will now be gratefully received.
This is getting pretty interesting, isn't it?
You're doing awesome.
Okay, if you've got your Grateful Dead hymnal, it's on page 28.
Ooh.
This is the new Speedway Boogie. And maybe we'll just do the first and the last verse, and everybody has to sing that part with one word this darkness is about to give.
Okay.
Please don't dominate the rap, Jack, if you got nothing new to say. If you please don't back up the track, this train has got to run today. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend a little time on the hill. Heard some say better run away, others say better stand still. I don't know, but I've been told it's hard to run the way to go. Other hand, I heard it said it's just as hard with the weight of lead. You can't overlook the blackjack of any other highway tonight. It's got no signs or dividing lines and very few rules to guide. Spend a little time on the mountain, spend a little time on the hill. I saw things getting out of hand, I guess they always will. I don't know, but I've been told if the horse don't pull, you gotta carry the load. I don't know whose back's that strong, maybe find out before too long. One way or another, one way or another, one way or another, this darkness has got to give. One way or another, one way or another, one way or another, this darkness has got to give. Yeah, say it. One way or another, oh, one way or another, yeah, one way or another, this darkness has got to give.
Woo!
Thank you so much, Andrew, for your wonderful music this morning as we muddle through together and learn how to do this. Our storyteller this morning is Alex Kapitan. Let us gather together wherever we are this morning for the moment for all ages.
And actually, our whole service today is for all ages. We talked about that in advance, but this part is particularly. I see you planned this. I'm so glad. Thank you all so much. So this story is about a bat. How many of you like bats?
I like that.
Wow, we got some bat lovers up in here. Is there anyone here who doesn't like bats?
Well, I'm afraid of them. But
Okay,
I still like
so
them.
it's complicated. That's totally fine. I really like bats. And this is a story that I wrote with an Aesop fable. Here's how it goes. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, in a faraway land, a terrible fight broke out between the mammals and the birds. Mammals are all the animals that are furry and have teeth and carry their babies in their bellies until they're born, right? And birds are all the animals that can fly and have beaks or bills and lay eggs in nests. You see, the mammals didn't trust the birds, and the birds didn't trust the mammals. They were just so different from one another that they didn't understand each other. The mammals didn't know what it was like to see the world from way up above, and the birds didn't know what it was like to be covered in fur instead of fluffy feathers. So the birds and the mammals started to fight. But there was one animal who didn't understand the fighting, and that was Bat. Bat couldn't pick a side in the fight because Bat felt like she was a little bit of both. After all, bats are furry and have teeth, but they also have wings and can fly. Bat was friends with both birds and mammals. She would go flying with her bird friends and snuggle with her furry mammal friends. When the fight broke out, Bat was really sad. She went to both the mammals and the birds and begged them to stop the violence. Don't you see? She said to the other animals. You're not that different from each other. We all feel love and hunger and pain. Look at me, she said. I can fly, yet I'm also furry. I am proof that there's no real divide between mammal and bird. But the other animals wouldn't listen. They had been told all their lives that birds and mammals were at odds with each other and had nothing in common. They had been taught to fear one another. Pick a side and stay there, Tiger said at the mammals' camp. Stop pretending to be something you're not. What are you really? Screeched Eagle the next day at the birds' camp. I'm both and neither, said Bat. But that was inconceivable to the other animals. Even her bird and mammal friends laughed in Bat's face, made fun of her, pushed her aside, and kept fighting each other. At first, Bat was too sad to do anything else. But then she realized that there were other animals like her, animals that were different from the others. Who do you think she went and found? Platypus. You called it. She went and found platypus. Platypus has a bill and lays eggs, but also has no wings and is furry like a mammal, right? Bat also went and found flying squirrel, who is furry, yet flies through the air. Bat, platypus, and flying squirrel went and found ostrich and penguin and kiwi, who are all birds that can't fly, so they weren't part of the fighting. Now there were more animals who could help the mammals and the birds understand that not all birds are the same, and not all mammals are the same, and they should stop fighting and get to know each other better. It was hard, but the other animals finally listened and stopped fighting. They started realizing how amazing it was that there were so many differences between them and among them, that birds can be as small as tiny hummingbird or as massive as albatross, And mammals can have tusks like elephant or the softest fur like bunny. And there were also ways that some birds and mammals were more similar to each other than to their own kind. Owl and hedgehog discovered they both liked staying awake at night. And loon and otter realized they both liked water. Eventually, everyone forgot that it had been Bat, who was the bravest one of all and had stopped the fighting. And that was just fine with Bat. What mattered most to her was that all the animals were at peace and that she had made a whole bunch of new friends who were like her and different in the coolest ways. The end. Thank you. So we're not going to sing the children away from the camera. We're going to invite everyone to stay for the rest of service.
The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you are willing to risk looking like a fool for love. Of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets during your moon. I want to know if you have the spirit of your if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. Tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful. Be realistic. Remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
Hello again. I'm so happy that I get to be a part of this grand experiment today with all of you, and that you're here too, joining us, whether you are struggling to get in for 15 minutes and just joined us, or whether you are well familiar with Zoom and were here 2 hours ago just waiting. Thank you so much for making the effort and for being here and for gathering together in community, even in this new way. And thank you, Reverend Chris, for inviting me to be here, and for the whole AUUF community for the gift of getting to spend this time together. I was doing some work yesterday with your board and your committee on ministry, and really being able to take a step back during these times and think through what does it mean to be a AUF community, and particularly as we are 8 months into this new relationship with a new minister. So I didn't just come to do this today, but it's wonderful to get to do it. And there's 30 people online, Daryl just shared. So thank you to Daryl for running our tech greeting committee. And thank you to all 30 of you who are here. So I have a message to share with you, and I'm going to keep it brief because now is not the time for being long-winded, I think. And I'm also going to keep it plain because now is also not a time for fancy words, and also because this message is for everyone tuning in today of all ages. So the heart of my message today can be summarized by some powerful words by UU Minister Reverend Teresa Soto. And they're these: all of us need all of us to make it. All of us need all of us to make it. All of us need all of us to make it. For me, these words represent the heart of my Unitarian Universalism. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that we need each other, that we are deeply connected on a level that goes beyond our comprehension, that we won't leave anyone behind, that when even one life is oppressed or imprisoned, none of us is truly free. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that us is the most powerful word in the English language. The world we live in today is a world that tries to separate us and encourages us to think only of ourselves, our own wants, our own needs, our own truths. It says you're either a bird or a mammal. You're either us or them. No other options. Pick a side and stay there. The mammals say the birds are all ignorant and shallow, bird-brained, right? And the birds say the mammals are all violent and arrogant. We are taught to compete with each other and fight for resources, to hoard toilet paper and food. We are taught that they threaten the survival of us. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that there is no us and them. There is only us, all of us. All of life is us. All of us need all of us to make it. Did you like the story I shared earlier about that?
Oh, yes.
I wrote that story because, first of all, I love bats, like I said earlier. I think they're adorable and fascinating. Second of all, I feel a lot like that myself. When I was a kid, I was told that everyone was either a boy or a girl, and that I was a girl. But I didn't really feel like a girl or a boy. Like that, I felt like a little bit of both. I liked playing with the boys, playing tag and pretending to be dinosaurs and collecting bugs under rocks. These are literally my favorite things to do when I was a kid. I liked dressing like girls. I wore princess dresses every day I could and tried to grow my hair as long as Ariel's in The Little Mermaid. It didn't work, but I tried. When I was in 4th grade, I got bullied by the other kids at school for being friends with boys. And I got made fun of for wearing princess dresses every day when everyone else, boys and girls, were wearing jeans. I stopped being myself and started trying to fit in instead. I had always loved school, but I started hating it. I got increasingly miserable without being able to explain why. Have you ever felt like you had to change yourself in order to fit in, or hide some part of yourself, or pick a side, act like the other birds, or talk like the other mammals? I think almost all of us have felt this way at some point or another. Sometimes it's something seemingly small, like pretending you don't like a particular sort of music when you really do. Sometimes it's something huge, like hiding the fact that you never learned to read because you're afraid of what other people might think. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that the world has room for all of us to be all of who we are. That in fact, the world is a better place when all of us get to be our fullest, most authentic selves. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that there are more than two types of people in this world, whether we're talking about gender or race or class or ability or age or sexuality or religion or politics or types of animals. What about the reptiles, right? Who left them out of the story? Unitarian Universalism teaches me to not only be who I really am, all of who I am, without fear or shame or trying to change myself in order to fit in. It also teaches me to be curious about who you really are. It teaches me to not assume I know anything about you just because of how you look or how old you are or where you live. Unitarian Universalism teaches me that all of us need all of us to make it. When we value being in relationship with each other across lines of difference, it means we have to get to know each other differently, right? We have to be curious about the differences between us, and we have to be curious about what difference those differences make. And within Unitarian Universalism, we're really different from one another in a way that's kind of rare for people who share a religion, belief. In Unitarian Universalism, you can believe in God, or in multiple gods, or in no God. You can worship nature, or speak to the ancestors, or believe in incarnation. Your holy texts could be the Quran, the Bible, or Mary Oliver's complete works of poetry. Just think, there are quite likely as many unique beliefs and understandings of the universe and our place in it as there are Unitarian Universalists. This, my friends, is our greatest strength and our greatest uniqueness. It is our superpower as a religion. In our world today, we desperately need communities like this one. Communities of people who build bridges across the sort of lines of difference that we have been taught make it impossible for people to understand each other, break bread together, love each other. But in order for Unitarian Universalism to tap into this superpower and live into our potential, the potential to form communities in which people engage with deep differences, not just belief, but gender, race, class, ability, age, sexuality, politics, and more, we have to be willing to open our hearts to each other and be transformed by our relationships across lines of difference. All of us need all of us to make it. Which brings me to today and what it means to stay home, keep yourself more than 6 feet away from each other, wash your hands, cough into your elbow. This is what love looks like. This is what community care looks like. This is what it looks like when we believe that all of us need all of us to make it. When we say we, and we mean all of us, we do our part to keep this virus from spreading because we are people who are older and disabled and have compromised immune systems. When we say we, and we mean all of us, we pool our resources and make sure everyone has enough to get by because we are shift workers, people in the gig economy, tiny business owners, and all kinds of other people who are suddenly worried that we won't be able to make these shutdowns. When we say we, and we mean all of us, we form human chains by telephone, email, and social media, and every other kind of connection we have, and we make sure everyone has a place to sleep, everyone has enough meds and food, and no one is alone. Because we know that all of us need all of us to make it. Because we are in relationship with people who are different than us, and those relationships have transformed how we think about this crisis, how we act, how we support each other. We can't just look out for our individual selves. We have to look out for each other. None of us can make it through this world alone. We need each other. That's why we're here. That's why we're a part of this incredible, loving, caring community of faith. Because showing up for one another, even when showing up means staying home, is how we will transform the world. It's how we fight against the forces telling us to compete with one another. It's how we resist the stories of all the thems of the world. There is no them. There's only us. So, in the days and weeks to come, keep your hearts open to the fullness of us, all of us. Reach out to one another. Leave no one behind. If you have resources, share them. If you need help, reach out. If you are isolated, tell someone. Stay tuned for concrete ways that you can tap into community efforts to help one another, which Reverend Chris and others are organizing. Above all, when you're having strong feelings, whether grief or fear or anxiety or confusion or frustration or disappointment, first, be kind to yourself. Do something to care for yourself and your spirit. Breathe. Go outside. Do some jumping jacks or a yoga pose. Make a cup of tea. Second, do something to care for someone else, because this is how we can redirect and transform those strong feelings. Find out who among us needs the most help and pitch in. In this way, slowly but surely, we will build toward the day when we say us and we mean all of us, because all of us need all of us to make it. Amen. Ashe. Aho. And blessed be. And now I would love it if you would sing with us again, or just hum along, or just listen. We're going to sing Love Will Guide Us, and I think Daryl is going to share the words on the screen. In the gray hymnal?
131.
131.
Put on my glasses and I can find it. Starts on a D.
Good idea.
You want to be up there?
Yeah, let's just, I know it's a little scary after our last count.
Yeah, that's good. Love will guide us.
That's what you did.
That's what I did.
It's good. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Love will guide us.
Oh no, let's try again. Can you give us the note? Love will guide us. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. You'll find the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame,
But not the light of truth,
the
the warmth of community,
or
the fire of commitment. These we can carry with us in our hearts until we are together again.
First, I want to thank all 30-something of you who have joined us this morning for this grand experiment. We're all learning together, and I've really enjoyed doing this. I hope that you'll come and join us week after week as we do these. We invite your feedback. Please do let us know if there's anything we can do, and we are learning along with you. So thank you, and especially thank you to everyone who made this morning possible, to Laura, Ralph, and Calvin for being my choir, to Andrew for muddling along with us as we figured out how to do music in these, and especially to Daryl for being on our tech point, and to Alex for being here this morning. We invite you to be our guest today for virtual coffee hour in our Facebook group at facebook.com/members and friends. The post will appear momentarily, and a link will also be sent to the AUUF Connect list. Please also join us this morning at, let's do it at 11 a.m. on this Zoom conference line that you're on right now for a special virtual second hour workshop called Beyond the Binary, Continuing the Welcoming Congregation Journey, featuring our guest speaker, Alex Kapitan. If you need to log off for any reason but wish to come back, I'll also be sending a link for that. So at this time, please rise in spirit with all the spirit you have for our sung benediction. You'll find the words on screen.
Forth into the world in peace, in peace. Be of good courage, hold fast that which is good. All people rejoicing in the power of the Lord.
Thanks for those that sang along.
Our benediction comes from Reverend Joseph M. Cherry. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. Go in peace, stay in peace, head to Facebook. Hope to see you soon.